Hi guys, my name is Ibukun and welcome back to Makeup and Gist. So guys, I know you're probably wondering, have I abandoned you? Well guys, I know my nails might not look like it, but I have been through a lot. Life has been happening to me. I fell sick, and for some crazy reason, anytime I said okay, I'm going to film today, then noise. It's a lot of noise. I don't know whether it's like people are just watching me and they're like, okay, it's been on the camera, let's make noise. And it has just been a lot and I haven't had time to film. But guys, I'm back. I'm really sorry for the long break. Come closer, let's talk. You are about to marry your partner and your parents says no. Your family were not having it. Your family were like, oh my god, it's from a different tribe. How can you marry a man like that? We don't marry people from the Ashanti region. We don't marry an Igbo person. Your parents are telling you, you either marry this man or this woman, or I disown you. Your parents are telling you that you marry this man or this woman, or you lose your throne. You are no longer my daughter. You are no longer my son. Imagine that it's not just your friends or your family or your father that is saying no. Imagine it is nations. Imagine nations are the one angry that you want to marry someone. Nations are imposing economic sanctions. Nations are threatening to go to war because you want to marry someone. Well, that is our topic for today. In our last video, which I posted I think 2 years ago, I'm just kidding, I think it was like 4 weeks or 3 weeks ago, we spoke about Joe Appiah and Peggy Appiah. Well, before there was Joe Appiah and Peggy Appiah, there was Seretse Khama and Ruth Williams. Man, this story is interesting. So guys, I'm going to jump right into this story. And guys, in the meantime, join the family. Please like and subscribe. It really means so much to me and it helps the channel grow. I'm going to draw my brows in 3, 2, 1. Okay guys, so I am back. I want to apologize for all the names I'm going to butcher today. I am really sorry. It's not my intention. I just don't know how to talk sometimes. Okay guys, so let's talk about Seretse Khama and Ruth Williams. Seretse Khama was born on the 1st of July 1921. He was born to Sengoma Khama, who was a ruler of the Bangwato Reserve in Bechuanaland. Now, Bechuanaland is what we now know as Botswana. Now, at that time, Bechuanaland was made up of like other small tribal groups. So Bechuanaland was a protectorate of the British Empire. Now it is important to note the difference between a protectorate and a colony. Guys, let's go to school. So a colony is a nation that is subservient to another country we call the sovereign state. Now the sovereign state is going to be in charge of your judiciary, your government. You don't have autonomy, so everything you do is going to be dictated by the sovereign state. However, a protectorate is different in the sense that while you still have local autonomy over things in your country, you still seek protection from a higher nation, which is again the sovereign state. An example is Ghana was a colony of UK, and in this case Bechuanaland was a protectorate of the British Empire. Bechuanaland, which is now Botswana as I keep saying, was made up of at least 10,000 Africans and some 500 Europeans. So when Seretse was just 4 years old, his father passed away, and that made him automatically the ruler of Bangwato Reserve. But because he is a kid, Uncle Seretse Khama had to step in and a regency was established. So his uncle would be the acting king until Seretse is old enough, and then he would come back to rule. So his uncle, clearly believing in the importance of education, invested a lot into Seretse's education. So Seretse went to school in South Africa, which is like very close to Botswana. I think it's on the south side or north side, somewhere. And then when he was old enough, he went to the UK. He went to Balliol College in Oxford, and then he went to the Inner Temple to study law. You remember, it's just similar like Joe Appiah. I think Joe Appiah went to Middle Temple. Seretse was a student in Inner Temple in the year 1946. So it's a Friday night. I don't know if it's a Friday night. That's what I'm saying. It's a Friday night. And then his friends are like, yo, bro, today's a Friday. Let's go out and let's have fun. Let's chill. Let's go to town. Let's see what's happening in town. And Sereche's like, I don't know. I really have to study for this test. And his friends are like, oh, let's go and enjoy. Let's go and enjoy. Afterwards, we'll come back and study. You know you're a shark. So his friends convinced him, and they decided to go to a dance that was organized by the London Missionary Society. So at the party, he's introduced to this very, very beautiful young woman. Beautiful young white woman. Now let's talk about Ruth Williams. Ruth Williams was born in Blackheath. I think that is in South London. Now she was the daughter of a retired Indian Army officer. Prior to working as a clerk in an insurance company in London, she served as an ambulance driver in the Women Auxiliary Air Force. That was during the Second World War. It was in her early 20s when she met Seretse Khama. Guys, I don't know if you can see that, but I just scratched my face. That's the thing with having long nails, no one tells you. So in June 1947, Ruth is pestered by her sister. Her sister is like, oh my god, Ruth, let's go for this dance, Ruth is like, oh, I'm so tired, I've been working all day and I just want to stay home and rest. Sister's like, no, let's go for the dance. You know how sisters can be annoying. Ruth finally accompanying her sister to the dance, and then she's introduced to Seretse Khama, but no one tells her that Seretse is actually an African prince. In Ruth's words, I saw a tall, well-built, smiling African with wonderful teeth, broad shoulders, and a perfect manner. Just love is sweet. The dance, they were talking, and then they realized that they had the same taste in. They loved the same kind of music. They loved jazz a lot. So 3 months after they met, Seretse has moves. He got moved. So he called Ruth up and he's like, yo Ruth, I've got tickets to the Ink Spots, which is like a very popular jazz group. I've got 2 tickets. Do you want to come with me? And we can invite your sister if you're not comfortable to be seen with me. And Ruth is like, oh no, don't worry, I would love to come, and I won't invite my sister. Those people that do invite you for a date and then you go and carry plus one. Have you seen what your mates are doing? Have you seen? You carry your mates. Have you seen what your other mates are doing in 1947? So after their first date, they started spending more time together. They would go out on more dates. Seretse liked to play football, so Ruth would go to all his matches, and then they were just like young people dating and were living their life. But this is the 1940s. This relationship is not, people are not happy about it. People look at it and be like, these people cause it abomination. But then they didn't care. So one day, Seretse asks Ruth, do you think you will ever love me? So sweet. And Ruth didn't even have to say anything. Ruth said, they just looked at each other and they knew that there was no other place and there was no other person that they would rather be with. It's just both of them that mattered. As they've been dating for almost a year, and then finally Seretse asks the question, Ruth, will you make me the happiest man in the world? You're the only one that makes my heart beat, and there's no other person for me in this world. If this world does not involve you, I don't want to do this world. That's what Seretse tells Ruth. It's like, oh my god, yes, I will marry you, I will be your wife. And then in September 1948, ooh guys, an anniversary. 1948, how many years is that? Oh guys, 73 years. Seretse writes a letter to his uncle Chekedi in Bechuana land. I am so happy to tell you that I have found a queen for us. Now her name is Ruth Williams, and she's a white woman. She's the woman that I love with my heart so much. She's the one that makes my heart beat. Uncle, I have found my wife. And the uncle is reading the letter. The uncle just like this. Hey, whoa. Hey. Children of nowadays to do respect. They are so ungrateful. How dare you? How dare you? I took you to London to go and learn, and then you come back to marry a white woman to rule over us? There is no way I'm going to accept this marriage. And the uncle writes back that if he brings her, if he marries her, I will fight you to death. His uncle now petitions the London Missionary Society that they are not going to accept this proposal. This is an abomination. He will not allow them. They should spoil that wedding. That wedding, it can't happen. They will not allow him to marry a white woman. It is not happening. So Seretse decided to defy his uncle, and he pushed the wedding date to 24th September. Now Ruth announces the engagement to her father. He said that, which man? Is it that black man that you were walking around with? Is that the man you want to marry? And Ruth said yes. Father was like, lie, never in this life. To never happen. And Ruth was like, Daddy, I really love him. And it hurts me that you're saying this, but I want to spend the rest of my life with him. And I was like, okay, since you've made your choice, you have to leave my house. You leave my house right now. I don't know you. You are dead to me. You are no longer my child. Ruth is kicked out of her family house. They decide to move in together, but then landladies and landlords are not having them. People are not willing to accept interracial couple in their house, so they're like basically homeless. They started planning their wedding, and then anytime they go to a church, they went to the first church that they want to get married, and the priest said like, I'm sorry, you cannot officiate your wedding. Go and see this person. And they go and see this person. This other person tells them that, I'm sorry, you cannot marry, you cannot bless your marriage. Ruth goes to work one day, and then her boss calls her. Her boss tells her that if you decide to go ahead with this marriage, we are sorry, we cannot employ you. You can either transfer to our New York office, or you'll be fired. So now Ruth has lost her job. Ruth has lost her family, all in the name of love. And on the 29th of September 1948, Seretse Khama is married to Ruth Williams at the Kensington Registry Office. So they got married and they lived happily ever after. I am joking because the war has just begun. After they got married, now Seretse is asked to come back to the Bechuana land, come and explain to his people why he decided to break custom and marry a white woman. So Seretse left Ruth in England, back to Bechuana land on the 22nd of October 1948, and he was in front of the Kongota or the Gota. I'm sorry, I will just put the name there. So he was someone in front of the Kongota or the tribal assembly for 4 days grilling. Imagine they are grilling you for 4 days. So on the first day of the meeting of the elders, Seretse is asked to annul his marriage to Ruth, or else they won't let him be the king. And then it's his uncle that is actually leading this meeting. So Seretse tells them that there's no way he's going to leave his wife, and then he laughs there, and she hasn't done anything to them. So he just like putting in a case as to why he should still be allowed to marry or to be with Ruth. And on the second day of the meeting, they said, okay, fine, Ruth can come, but Ruth would have the title of the Queen of Bechuana land. And then Seretse is like, there's no way he's going to allow his wife come and then she won't be the queen. It's not right for her. Just leading this argument for a very, very long time. So finally the tribal elders are like, okay, whatever, You can marry her, you can be with her, we don't have any problem, we welcome her. His uncle is like, lie, he would never allow this woman to be the queen of Bechuana land. He would not. So they should choose. If they allow the woman to come, or they allow this guy to still be king, then he would leave the land and he would never come back. He would go on exile. So he's kind of like, he's threatening them. And then they are like, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, no one is holding you, you can go. You can imagine how betrayed his uncle will feel, because he's been ruling them all this while, and then he doesn't even have their sympathy. Must have been really, really cruel to him. So his bluff is called, and then his uncle leaves Bechuana land to go to another, he forms his own group away from the town, and then his loyal supporters also follow him. Seretse is allowed to come back to Bechuana with his wife, and they live happily ever after. The end. Really, you believe that? We still have a long way to go. Come on, relax. Geography of Bechuana land. They are in the same region as South Africa and Southern Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. In South Africa, they have just announced their system of apartheid. Now I hope we all know what apartheid is, but apartheid is like a legal segregation of blacks and whites. They have just banned interracial marriages, like a black man and a white woman and a black woman is against the law. It's not happening. And this is the case where their neighbors now have a black ruler and a white ruler. So South Africa was not having this at all. South Africa now puts in a law that if ever they see Seretse and Ruth in South Africa, they were going to arrest them. They now declare them illegal immigrants. And then the problem for Seretse is the headquarters of the Bechuana Protectorate is actually in South Africa. So if you are saying that I can't come to South Africa, how can I rule my people? And then South Africa now goes on, and they now exert pressure on the British that they shouldn't recognize Seretse's claim as chief, because if they do, they were going to step away from the Commonwealth. And UK cannot have this, because UK is still in debt. They were still in debt after the World War II, and they are largely dependent on South Africa's gold and uranium, which they used to make bombs, because they are stuck between the devil and the Red Sea. And is it the devil and the Red Sea? It's like, should we accept this guy as king and then lose all of South Africa's resources, or we should reject this guy's claim as king and then we can benefit from South Africa's resources? So like, what are they doing? Are they pandering to the South African racist views? So it was a huge dilemma for the UK, but I think you can guess what they chose. So the United Kingdom responded by launching a commission to investigate if Seretse can be a good ruler. The conclusion of the investigation was that Seretse is actually fit to rule, but for his unfortunate marriage. So in 1950, Seretse and Ruth, they are living in Bechuana land. The British Empire calls Seretse to come back to London to recognize his claim as chief, and then they tell him that he should renounce his chieftaincy claim for allowance every man. And then he says no, he's not going to do that. And okay, if that's the case, we're not going to let you go back to Bechuana land, because you might cause instability and you might cause war. They are trying to find a way to say that it's not because of South Africa, but it's for the good of your own people. Your people won't accept this union, so you have to stay in exile in the UK. Seretse now sends a cable to his wife that, dear wife, I have been tricked. They said I have been banished from the whole protectorate. And now just look at how funny this thing is. Now Ruth is in Bechuana land and she's pregnant, and then her husband is in exile in UK. So you see how like they have just like torn them apart. After some time, Ruth is allowed to be united with her husband in London, and they are both banished. And then his uncle is not allowed to rule. There's a bit of like trouble between the indigenous people and the white people, because the people are like, where's our king, where's our king, why have you sacked our king away from us, we want to see our king. That whole drama. Now people too are petitioning, so their marriage is causing a whole stir, because people are like, how can this man be banned from his own hometown when his own people say they don't care, but because of South Africa, you guys are just tearing families apart. So it's a whole drama. Ruth finally reunites with her father and her family, and then like they're just in UK living their life. So in 1956, Seretse and Ruth Williams are allowed to come back to Bechuana land, but first they had to sign like documents that is renouncing all chieftaincy claims for both them and then their kids, and they're just allowed to return as private citizens. In Bechuana land, Seretse decided to go into agriculture. He was a cattle rancher, which is quite interesting. And then he got bored, he got involved in national politics. He formed a political group called the Bechuana Land Democratic Party, and then this party went ahead to win the 1965 national elections. And then in 1966, Seretse was now the first president of Bechuana land, and which is now Botswana, so they changed the name to Botswana. And then he and his wife, even though they were denied being kings and queens, they were actually the presidents and then the first lady. So they lived a really, really happy life, and he was even knighted by the Queen of England. So they went on to have one daughter and 3 sons. So the first child, Jacqueline, who was conceived before he went into exile, and then they had a son called Ian. Now funny thing, Ian went on to become the president of Botswana, and they had twin boys, so Anthony Paul and then Seretse Khama after his uncle. Seretse went on to serve as president for 4 terms, so he passed away in 1980 at the age of 59 from cancer. Ruth also passed away on the 22nd of May 2002 at the age of 79, and she also passed away from throat cancer. May they rest in peace. Both said to be buried at the Khama graveyard in Botswana. So Seretse is actually remembered fondly in Botswana because they call him actually the best president they have ever had. He invested deeply in education, infrastructure, and then health. While Ruth is also known very kindly as Lady K, she's remembered as a charity worker and remembered fondly for all her charitable activities in Botswana. Okay guys, so I'm going to finish up my face and then we just have a conversation. This is the final look. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I wasn't feeling like wearing lashes, so I didn't bother to wear lashes. I just used a normal mascara, and I really like this. I think it's cute. It's cute. Okay, focus. Okay guys, so let me leave you with a quote from Seretse Khama. Now it says, "But in matters of love, the heart is seldom ruled by skin coloring." Guys, what do you think about this story? To me, I really loved it because it had a happy ending. Even though they couldn't become kings and queens of Botswana, they actually became the president and the first lady. I felt like it was a classic fairy tale. We had our villains, and then we had our star-crossed lovers, and then eventually love wins, because love always wins. What would you do if this happened to you? If your parents were against the marriage, if your country was against the marriage, would you go ahead and marry the person? Would you let your heart rule, or you'd use your mind? Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. It really means so much to me. And if you're new here, please like, please subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you very much. And also, if you'd have someone that you want me to talk about next week, please let me know in the comments, and then I would work on it. Think you're the best, and I'm wishing you a lovely week ahead. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Really means so much to me. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye. On your country, if you marry somebody. Oh God, that thing. What is all this witchcraft? World War II. His uncle sends, so Seretse, the tribal the elders, the tribal and the